Loud and proud in the Six Towns and across the globe. We are Six Towns Radio.
Born to Run, Frankie Goes to Hollywood on Six Towns Radio. I play that because I've got Brian Nash in the studio. How are you doing, Brian? You okay, mate?
I'm alright, mate. I think I'm doing a bit better than you are. I've had a bit more kip, even if it wasn't a travel lodge.
Yeah, I had a little bit of sleep. I was quite excited about this because you've got your book. We were talking about this quite a while ago, me and you, saying you were going to launch this book, and then it got stopped, didn't it?
Yeah.
You had a letter.
Yeah.
Can you tell us what happened?
Well, I can't tell you the details of it, not because I'm being evasive, but I didn't know because it was nothing. It was between the publisher and my former record label. I think 3 days before the book was due out, they sent in a letter, and I think they said about they were concerned following comments I'd made in various social media about the competence of their record company. And that's all I know about it, and that kind of spooked the lawyers. And despite the people at the Echo checking it, we had to have put it on hold a little while just to make sure everything was squeaky clean, because there isn't a lot of money in making these books, and they didn't want any of the small profit they're about to make wiped out with the litigation. So, but now we're back. We're back on the front foot again. Yeah.
Yeah, it's called Nasher Says Relax.
Yeah, not my choice. I wanted to have something like really arty, like Hollywood and beyond, but I kind of had to bow to their superior knowledge in marketing, and the guy said to me, if you see that on a bookshelf and you're a Frankie fan, you'll know exactly what it's about, so I guess so.
That's what Frankie Goes to Hollywood was about, though, wasn't it? The music, obviously, but it was a very arty thing. The Frankie says things, well, Frankie say things that were, you know, on the T-shirts and posters.
Well, I think maybe to a certain extent, the T-shirts are probably a bit more iconic than the songs these days, because you know, you can't go on a page on eBay. You put in Frankie Says, you'll find more T-shirts than you will find old vinyl and cassettes.
And none of them are actually official T-shirts as well.
No, but yeah, don't even begin to go down that route about trying to stop people from doing it, which, you know, they did crop up in Next for a time, and we said, well, you can't be doing that. And he said, well, we've been told we can, because by someone who's got a license for it. And then it get into this whole thing about, for us to have a license, we would all have to agree, and it was just sort of, for what you talk, you know, if someone like Next is doing it, it's worth chasing it down. If it's some guy knocking them out in his garage, then it's not really worth the trouble of doing it.
Yeah, the small town.
But don't think I won't come after you if you're out there.
He's got a van like a licensed detective van with Relax on the side. Come and shut your
T-shirt
shop
detective. Let's come to my attention. You have some vintage 80s white tees on your premises. Yeah, that'd be good, though, wouldn't it? We'd find them all then. Where's my royalty?
Yeah, it started a few, because then I think Wham did the Choose Life T-shirt straight after.
Well, to be fair, the Choose Life thing, I think they may have nicked that from the same person who we nicked it from, which was Catherine Hamnett.
I was going to say
that the 98% don't want Pershing, which was the person missile thing, and we seen it, and Paul Morley seen Paul Rutherford wearing one and copied it. And ever since has been claiming that as marketing expertise, when really it's just what's the word? I can't think. It's like what you do when you copy someone's own work.
Yeah, but it was funny because today you've been signing copies of your book. We took you to.
I love the way. By the way, I love the way you say book, like I say book.
Yeah,
because the book.
Yeah.
No, you cook, and you cook, and you read it from a book.
Yeah, there's a swear word that rhymes with the other one. That's what I always say. But yeah, you've been signing copies of the book in a supermarket, and we've been at a lovely bookshop in Hanley called Webley's.
Yeah, beautiful.
It's part of our heritage, things like that, and Stoke-on-Trent. It's been going for generation and generation. We met one of the Webleys, didn't we?
Yeah, today.
And he bought you oatcakes.
Yeah, he bought me some oatcakes today. I have to say, I didn't know what oatcakes were. I think there's something in the past, but when I put on my Facebook this morning that I was in Stoke, and someone just put oatcakes, oatcakes question mark. Yeah. So I'm just going to put, I'll have to log on later and go, yes, indeed, oatcakes.
At one of these signings, you met somebody was it the sister-in-law of the person who designed the Relax sleeve?
She was a lady called Yvonne Gilbert, who was it was her illustration that we used on the sleeve, and I was telling her about meeting the girl who was actually the model on the Relax sleeve, and that's weird that you see, you know, the world's a small place.
It is. I just couldn't believe it. I just overheard it. I thought, that's just bizarre. She's been waiting for that moment. She worked in the shop, didn't she?
Yeah, yeah.
She's been waiting for you.
She got staff discount.
I do remember, obviously, when Relax came out as a single, because at first, you know, it was slowly going up the chart, and then it got banned, and that was it. I think it's one of them things when you're told not to listen to something, like the Sex Pistols had it, you can't buy that unless you're over 15. Everyone wanted to buy it. Everyone wants to own something you can't have or whatever. And I think that helped the song, which was a brilliant song anyway, to go to number one.
I have a theory that if it wouldn't have been, well, when you say it's banned, yeah, we all say that it was banned, but the actual wording of it was that it was withdrawn from the playlist, because they'd actually been playing it. And I think they came out in support of Mike Reid. But how the ban, I think, really worked for us was that when Two Tribes came out, the BBC, I think, realised they'd made a bit of an error, and to amend for it, it just battered Two Tribes. And I think it was getting like 9 plays a day when it came out, so it was no wonder, you know, it went straight in at number one, because you couldn't escape it. But the fact that then Relax went back up the chart and stayed on the chart for a year, you know, a lot of fans, Two Tribes was their first introduction to Frankie, and then they went backwards and got Relax. But I think maybe if Relax would have still been played, and because we had a midweek prediction that it was number 2 when they withdrew it from the playlist, and I think it was going to number 1 by the speed of the way the sales were going. And I think if we'd have had those year of sales condensed over 2 months, it probably would have stayed at number 1 longer than Two Tribes did. I think it would have been, because it's a more commercial sounding record, you know, it's a bit more, as Holly used to say, it's a bit like a nursery rhyme, and a lot more catchy, I think, in terms of a pop song than Two Tribes. But yeah, it was great. I'd say the biggest buzz for me with regards to Frankie recently was hearing the 8 seconds of it in the Olympic opening ceremony. And okay, it was only 8 seconds of your tune, but there was a guy in a Frankie Says Relax t-shirt, and he had a proper one. It said Frankie Say Relax.
Yeah.
Frankie is plural, not a person.
Yeah.
He doesn't. He says it's say, not says.
Yeah.
And 8 seconds, 1 billion people heard 8 seconds of our record. That blew me away. I was sitting on the couch, gobsmacked. My missus thought I'd died, I think. Never been so quiet.
But you couldn't mention 80s music without mentioning Frankie Goes to Hollywood. You just couldn't do it.
Well, I can.
Okay, everyone else but you.
Yeah.
You just can't, because 1984 was definitely your year. When you had the 3 number ones and the first 3 singles getting to number 1, it was the first time since Jerry and the Pacemakers. And do you know who the third person, well, the third artist or whatever you want to call them, to do it was?
I'll have a guess and say Westlife.
No, they did it. Jive Bunny.
Oh.
Jive Bunny did it, I think, in '89.
Fair play. Yeah, just Jerry, Frankie, and Jive Bunny.
I know.
No, it seems to be something that, I mean, with the, you know, all right, but boy bands have been around since the year dot, but say with the likes of Westlife, I think Westlife, 8 out of their first 9 singles went to number 1.
That's right.
Which is just shows you can't account for taste.
Well, Jive Bunny as well, you know. I reckon they probably didn't make a lot of money out of that.
No, I'm surprised they didn't end up in court. I bet there was a couple on that ended up there without permission, or
Yeah.
permission was sought after it had been a hit.
So you're going to play a song for us now, aren't you?
Yeah. Well, this is one that I haven't actually recorded yet, but it was influenced by the Orange Ladies that walk around the streets of Liverpool. I'm sure you must have them here too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't get much sun here in Stoke-on-Trent, so fake tan booths are quite popular.
Apparently there's a condition now amongst these young ladies called Tanorexia, which is an addiction to tanning salons. So I wrote a book, a song called Acute Tanorexia. So this is for all the Orange Ladies of Liverpool, Stoke, or wherever they may gather. I want it built for comfort, not
for speed. A dizzy prom queen's the very last thing I need. And all the Mars who bear the scars from squeezing out their pups is more appealing than the sight of Jodie Marsh's tups. With acute anorexia and a bust like Pamela, and then those shoes with the heels, I'll just keep the real. I couldn't fall in love with Polythene Pam, but how could I be picky? I'm not everybody's ideal man. And any man who fakes a tan is simply wasting time. You need an all-over spray job for a crack like mine. With acute anorexia, staring back from the calendar, and although lace does appeal, I'll just keep it real. Yeah, they're all orange girls with blonde popcorn curls. There's no sugar and spice or not anything nice about. Anything nice about cute anorexia, cellulite in your derriere, and if you're broad in the beam, we'll just love the real. Hey, yeah, 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 yeah.
Fantastic stuff, Brian Nash. So what was that called?
Acute Tanorexia. It'll be on my next record.
Yeah, because you've made 3 solo albums so far. You've got a 4th one that you're currently working on, haven't you?
Yeah. The Ripe, Allo Minimo, and Le Grand Fromage was in the middle. Yeah. The last one's got a bit more of an acoustic. A bit. It was kind of having a lot on my plate at the time and just doing it in fits and starts. You're very careful how you say that. But yeah, I'm at the stage now where I'm not trying to. I just do it because I like doing it, and you know, I'll put it out, and I know that some people will buy it and there's interest in it. But trying to compete in the hothouse of the millions and millions of other artists that are out there, it's a full-time job. You've got to have so many hats on to be a musician these days, and I don't know if I like wearing those hats all the time.
Yeah, because you've never stopped making music, have you?
No,
People think you just disappear when you're not in the chart.
Well, that's it. That's it. You go to the old pop stars home. Yeah.
That would be a good sitcom, that would.
I was there last week. The Classic Rock Awards was the old pop stars homes. Yeah.
Yes.
There was some interesting hairstyles in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think some of them may have been purchased online. I'm glad I'm not doing the hair wars anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We had pictures up of you earlier with your little perm fringe.
Permed fringe, here we go. Now, not only am I accused of being a ginger by my kids, when I never was, I've now had a permed fringe.
Naturally curly, was it?
No, it'll come out of a bottle. That's why none of it's left now. I put this down to Weller wet gel in the 80s.
Yeah.
It's all gone west. Because it's interesting, I've still got hair on the back where the wet gel never used to go. And all the stuff on the top where you would be layering it on thick and then hang it upside down like a bat with a hairdryer to make sure it stayed there all night. And
there's product now that can do that, but back in the day, I think Robert Smith said he used cola on his hair to spark it up.
That's what Ian McCulloch used to use as well. Yeah, I think he's too busy throwing it in his rum now.
But yeah, going back to that, we talked a little bit about, you know, having 3 number ones, a massive album, you know what I mean? One of the questions we've had, I'll go to one of the questions right now. We've had a question from Jeremy Orwell. He said...
I know Jeremy Orwell.
Do you?
Yes.
Do you?
Yes.
Oh, that's good.
He does the same job as you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, he's asked for the Welcome to the Pleasure Dome album. He recorded 4 very different cover versions. Of course, I know what they are. Ferry Cross the Mersey. We played one at the top of the show, Born to Run. You did War and San Jose. How did Holly sing I Was Born and Raised in San Jose and Keep a Straight Face?
I hate that song.
Yeah.
It's horrible. It's the worst Frankie song ever, and I've not made that a secret. And I blame Mark O'Toole, because we were in a rehearsal room and it was after Relax had been a hit, and we were rehearsing 2 Tribes, and Trevor had come down and he was talking about stuff that he liked, and Mark O'Toole said, "Oh, I like Dionne Warwick. You know, I love the bass line in San Jose." And he started playing it, the 2 of them together. So it was his fault. Easy listening, O'Toole.
Yeah.
It's horrible. I don't even like the Dionne Warwick version.
Yeah.
It's a bit like, when I was a kid, that was the kind of stuff that your aunties listened to. Do you know what I mean? Like, okay, Jerry Marsden, yeah, we'll buy that. Edwin Starr, yeah, we'll buy that as well. And Bruce Springsteen, at a push, although I think our version wipes the floor with his. But Dionne Warwick, no. Wouldn't open the curtains if you was in my garden.
I think he did this question because he knew you'd act like that, but he's also said, what do you think the best cover version was, even though you said you don't like cover versions?
I think Born to Run was the best cover version, because when we recorded it, it was us playing in the studio, and people might think it's a bit weird, but we'd never actually heard the Bruce Springsteen version before, so someone suggested we do this. I think it was Paul Morley's suggestion that we do this song called Born to Run, to annoy Americans and to maybe cause a bit of a stink, because Bruce Springsteen was such an icon. And we just got the sheet music, and it was like, well, how does it go? Well, it's like... So we said, well, we'll play it like... You know what I mean? It was... That's how we learnt it, and I'd love to know if Bruce has heard it.
I was just going to say.
Well, he must get PRS for it and stuff like that. And he goes, "Hey, Frankie goes to Hollywood. You know, who are these guys?" Yeah, he doesn't need our shillings though, does he?
Not at all. He's done all right for himself.
He's nearly he's 60 odd now. He must be getting a pension, mustn't he? Free bus pass.
Yeah, but he must have heard it, of course. Like, for instance, The Power of Love has been released again by Gabrielle Aplin.
Yeah.
We saw Gabrielle Aplin. She's a very talented singer, and I think they've probably gone down the cover version route to get her out there. I think that's one of the ways they do it nowadays, isn't it?
Well, isn't that how they... Was there... correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm not a great pop aficionado anymore, but wasn't that how Ellie Goulding... Was it Ellie Goulding who did the Elton John?
Oh, your song. Yeah, she did a couple of her songs first, but and then she got an advert. I suppose it's a good way to do it. You know, you've got to claw your way into the music business now any way you can. So you heard about it probably straight away.
Well, the first I heard about it, someone posted it on my Facebook, and it was that it was going to be Imogen Heap was the one who was mentioned, but that they were trying a load of other singers. So I don't know whether they had a backing track and tried a load of singers singing that arrangement, or whether they gave it to these female artists and said, what would be your interpretation of it? So I only heard about it when I seen it on TV. And I've heard the song a couple of times since. But yeah, it's a decent version. Yeah, but I have to be honest, I didn't even know, I'd never heard of it until it came out. I
assume it is her own version of it, because she can play the piano and the guitar, and she's quite talented.
Someone told me last night she's only 15 or something.
She's young, she's not 15. I don't know how old she is, but she's not 15. I think
she should
18.
Be out on a bike.
Yeah.
Should be in the drinking cider in the park with her mates getting smashed, not being on the John Lewis commercial.
Well, you did it the way that most rock and rollers do. You had a job first, and you was a part-time rock and roller. You were Sparky, weren't you?
Yeah.
And you played music as well.
Well, for the first... When I left the job, I actually got leave of absence, because you know you had like your parents and all that about it. Oh, you know, you don't want to pack your trade in. You know, you got to have something to fall back on. Well, very well being a pop star, like, but you know, 6 months time it might all come to nothing. So I applied for leave of absence, and they said, yeah, you can go, and if it doesn't go well, come back in a year. But I never went back. It was an enjoyable job though, and I ended up, you know, thank God I could do it, because, you know, 5 years after the band had split up, I was back on the tools, skint, going around trying to be a self-employed spark, the worst businessman in the world. But just, you know, like, I'd get a phone call to go around and fix some old woman's light, and it'd be like, how much is it? Just give us a tenner. You know what I mean? And I'd be ends up doing jobs for nothing. Yeah, I'm not ruthless enough. No, too much. I'm the charity spark.
You shouldn't say that on the air. You know, you have people phoning up now.
Yeah, that's you get a question coming through in a minute. Hey, mate, what will it cost me to get six double sockets, put in my new kitchen extension, and a dishwasher point?
It'd be like one of them things, you know, when you get in a taxi and, you know, the private eye one say, how much do you usually pay?
Yeah.
You know, you're not going to say, you know, less, because they're just going to charge you whatever they got in their head anyway. It's how much do you usually pay? You know what I mean? So you got to try that one first, and then double it.
Yeah, I'll try that. I'm better than that. I might have to write that down. I've got an head like
good
a
tip.
sieve.
You told me a brilliant story upstairs. I want you to tell the listeners the one when you were doing a job and somebody had a great record collection.
Oh yeah, it's actually wrote about in the book. I was doing a job for a mate of mine. He's a plumber, and I was doing a bathroom fitting, and everyone wants the nice halogen sunken spotlight. So while I was sitting there having a cup of tea on the landing of the house, there was this guy had all his vinyl record collection all in alphabetical order, and I started looking through them while I was having my brew, and noticed like he had a load of stuff that I had in my album collection, you know, ABC, Blancmange, you know, the Christians, stuff like that as you were going through. And I seen a copy of Pleasure Dome, so I whipped it out and signed it. It said to, hope you enjoy your bathroom lights, best wishes, Nasher. And I was I'd love to be a fly on the wall, because he's gonna find it one day. One day, that's when he has a couple of kids and his missus going, that's going. Get all that out, get it down the car booty.
Yeah, but what he could have done, he could have heard The Power of Love, Gabrielle Happy version on the John Lewis advert and pulled the album out and said, I'm going to play the original. And it's gone. The penny's dropped.
Yeah, that's it. That could be it. You could be, because a lot of people have done that.
Yeah.
I've had people sending me messages on Facebook saying, my kids are saying, oh, I like this tune. And I've dragged the original out and paid it to them. And he said, no, I like this one better.
Yeah. And it's not a Christmas song, is it?
No, it was just... I think it came out at the Christmas time of year, but I think the pretty appalling nativity video was the thing that made people convinced it was a Christmas song.
Yeah.
They wanted authenticity and flew to Israel to film it. Wonder how much that cost. Yeah, you couldn't have gone to Southport.
No.
But we were actually on tour when Trevor came over to San Francisco. We wanted us to do a bit of recording, and we were in a studio in San Francisco. Narada Michael Walden, who you will no doubt know, being a DJ, and he turned up and said, "Oh, I've got the Power of Love video," and he put this VHS in the machine, and we just fell about laughing. We just thought it was just so obvious and so cheesy. And because all we'd known about it before that, before we went on tour, they said, we're going to photograph you from above and you're going to be like the picture frame for this thing. So they had a camera about 40 feet in the air and all of us lying on the floor in white suits. So that's the kind of video I like doing, the one that takes 2 hours and you're out of there, not standing around for hours and hours on end, which is usually how it does go.
Yeah.
Not great fun doing pop videos.
Famous for him though, Frankie Goes to Hollywood were.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think the first Relax video was, you know, considering what some people were spending on videos at that time, you know, like Duran Duran flying off to Sri Lanka for a week and taking a couple of cameras, you know, that's the way to do it, because you're not paying for the location, are you? You just, all you're paying for is to get there, and you've got this amazing location. And we were in Wilton's Music Hall down the back of Tower Bridge, freezing. It's still there actually. I found it recently when I was researching the book, and I contacted them and said, "Are you aware of that we filmed it?" And they said, "Oh yeah." And I introduced myself, and they said, "Well, next time you're down this way, come in." And it's a lovely. I think it's the oldest purpose-built music hall in Britain, and it, you know, like a lot of these places struggling to get money to restore it and all the rest of it. Maybe they should ask Zed TT or John Lewis.
Yeah, that'd be a good idea. The Two Tribes video as well about the Cold War.
Yeah. Again, another great video because we weren't in it a lot. Anything that you're, I mean,
you were cameramen in it, weren't you?
yeah, that's great, isn't it? We were only in it, but you can see us at about 4 or 5 shots, which is kind of like just about enough as far as I'm concerned. But yeah, and I remember doing the Pleasure Dome video, and like, you're gonna try and do a bit of acting. No, no. And you see yourself and you look back at it, and you just think, I can't even repeat on air what I think I look like in probably most of the videos.
Another question we had from a text. People texting don't put the names on. I've had 2 now, but I'm going to ask you anyway. One of them said about, we were talking about the cover versions, and you did Ferry Across the Mersey, and a place that'll always stay. And none of you actually live in Liverpool anymore, do you?
No. No.
That's interesting.
Well, neither does Jerry Marsden. I think Jerry lives on the Whittle now.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jerry, when it came out, there was an article in the Echo, Jerry saying, "Oh, bumper payday guarantees," because like back in the day, the 50% of the B-side, you know, you're getting the mechanicals off that. And Jerry being interviewed with it being on the B-side and saying, "Oh, I think it's fantastic," and the B-side of the 12-inch, I'll have to take those guys out for a meal one day. Yeah. Still waiting, Jerry.
Yeah,
still waiting. And I'm with the interest, it better be more than pie and chips.
He'll be back round Stoke soon. I'll ask him. He's always up Stoke for Christmas.
No, I have met him a couple of times since, and he's a good lad. He does. Yeah. He's always very supportive of stuff that's going on in Liverpool. You know, he does his bit. He's a legend, isn't he?
Oh yeah, definitely. Another question. Interests outside music. Somebody said, "I hear that you're into Spanish football."
Yeah. Yeah, over the last 5 years, I had a guy who lived next door to me, got a job for Real Madrid TV. So he said, "Come out for the game." So the first season we went out, we went and watched when Beckham was there and Rude, and it was Capello's Madrid, and we watched them at the Bernabeu, and then did a road trip across the north coast to Bilbao and watched them away at Bilbao. And then the next year did the same thing with Barcelona. I went to watch the Barcelona Espanyol derby and went across the north coast the other way to see them play Coruña. So I've been to La Coruña, Sporting Gijón, Atletico Bilbao, Barcelona, Sevilla a couple of times, and this year went to Malaga. Unfortunately, the 3 days we spent in Malaga was the only 3 days in April I think that it's ever rained.
That always happens to me.
Yeah, not fun sitting in a football stadium with it raining. Yeah, not meant to be in Malaga. But no, I speak a little bit of Spanish. I find putting yourself in situations where people don't speak English improves it 1000%, especially when you've got to try and find somewhere to stay. So I've done 5 road trips, and I think this year we're going to go and do Holland instead this year. The Europa League final is in Holland, so I'll go to that, even if Liverpool aren't in it. Unless, I don't know, unless Chelsea are in it, I won't go and see them.
No.
I wouldn't step foot in their ground. Hateful.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah.
Especially nowadays, certain players going there.
Well, yeah.
And managers.
But, well, I don't blame Rafa. I still love Rafa. I just hope he takes them down.
Yeah.
And gets a nice fat paycheck out of it as well.
Yeah, it's the best job to get in management, that is. It sets you up for life.
Well, I seen a brilliant thing the other day. Someone saying by the year 2020, you're never going to be more than 15 yards away from a Chelsea manager.
Another question before we get you singing again was one about Band-Aid. Of course, Holly was on the B-side of the Band-Aid single. Were Frankie approached to do any of the Band-Aid stuff?
Yeah, we were on tour when it was recorded, and they said, can you get up and do an interview with Bob Geldof? So said, who do you want? Said 2 members of the band, so obviously one of them's going to be Holly. Who else is staying up till, I think, 5 o'clock in the morning in Chicago? Oh, yeah, all right. I'll do it. So I get up. We've been out partying and I'd gone to bed at about an hour's kip and got up again to do it. You're all right, Bob, yeah. You know, feed the world for Christmas and all that. I'm not even on it. Could have stayed in bed. Waste of time. But the Live Aid thing was... I've been asked that a lot about Live Aid and why we didn't do Live Aid. And we were asked to do it. But we were on tour at the time and we really had no idea of the momentum that was building up behind this event. And I don't even, to be honest, I don't even think Bob Geldof did at the time. No, I think in the months when it was being planned, I don't think anyone thought it was going to be as big as it was. And then it started going to other countries and it was going to be satellite linked around the world. And the main reason we didn't do it is because the equipment we were using was so temperamental. And it had happened on tour. You know, Relax was basically run by an 8-part sequencer that the guy would sitting on the keyboards would hit it and it would start the riff, and a couple of times it would go do 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 and bail out. Now that's all right if you're playing to 300 people in some club in Detroit, but if you're doing it in front of the world, it's it could ruin your career. Ask Adamant.
Yeah.
You know, he didn't come out of Live Aid very well. I think, you know, no disrespect to him, but like, it didn't do him any favours, and that was the reason we didn't do it. So yeah. I was sitting in the Michael Jackson suite of a hotel in Florida watching it on a massive telly, and this was before massive tellies were in. It was unreal. Yeah. But I didn't get to see a lot of the British stuff. But no, probably a regret. But you can't have everything, can you?
No. You said you were on, and they didn't use your bit on the B-side, but you were on one Frankie Goes to Hollywood single, weren't you? Well, the remix. You were on War when you said, "My name is Mark, my name's Nash."
Yeah. The weirdest. These remixes were coming out, and you know, we didn't know. There's another remix come out. How was we nowhere somewhere in Spain or somewhere in Germany doing TV shows? So at the time, me, Mark and Pez were all living together in Maida Vale. It was like the young ones, you know. There was the only thing that was ever in the fridge was ale or salmon paste instead of bread, you know, just rubbish. And we used to, in the very early days of promoting Relax, the Hippodrome had just opened, and it was like the place to be. And because we did a PA there for Relax, they gave us these red celebrity passes. So we just used to go down there every night, and there'd be a queue around the block, and we just walk up the front, just show the back of this red pass, and waltz in. And this would be for anyone who was down from Liverpool as well. So you get like 15 scallies with the three of us in the front, just going, "All right, mate, yeah," and we'd march in. And one of these times we've walked in, say we must have lived there for the best part of about 2 years. Every single night we'd be either there or in Stringfellows, large in it. We walk in, and it's, "My name's Nash, my name's Mark, my name's Ped," and it's coming out of this. And we're like, "What's that?" And then go up Master DJ, he's going like, "It's a new mix." What do you... We just crack, you know, it's so weird to have not heard it in a studio beforehand, and like, "This is your record. Where were you?" "Well, you've just been away." But I think there's about 7 or 8 different mixes. Yeah, so it was one of the first times I saw a song have so many mixes and so many 12 inches. Yeah. Well, being a DJ, did you think you were being ripped off, or were you loving it?
I loved it actually at the time. I think there was a bit of overkill with War, definitely. Yeah. I think there was one of them about 6 minutes long, and there was one even longer than that, I think, that we had.
Well, the original Sax Mix version of Relax was about 15 minutes. That's what I know. This is the thing where Frankie fans go, "Well, what was your favourite mix?" Yeah, you're asking me. Like I've ever sat down and listened to the 7 of them back to back. I wouldn't have a clue. Wouldn't have a clue. You could be, if I was on Mastermind, someone had a gun to me head and said, "Can you tell me which is the Hibakusha mix of 2 Tribes?" No, couldn't. Sorry.
Because it does get that many mixes, and then there was the mixes again in the 90s, and then there's been another package a couple of years ago.
For a band that only ever made 2 albums, we've got some catalogue now. There's 2 out at the moment. There's a Sex Mix, which is there was a mistake in the mastering, and the first 5 tracks on it are mono, which is just disgusting, really. I mean, in a days when you can see music as well as hear it, it's either incredibly disrespectful or incredibly incompetent. Take your pick.
Yeah.
And then, you know, they made a mistake with it and put a thing on their Facebook page which was kind of like condescending. Phil Spector would have loved it, you know, back to mono.
Mm-hmm.
And a load of Frankie fans objected and went, you know, this is just taking the mickey, we're not having this. This, you know, and, you know, this is not me saying this. Frankie Goes to Hollywood stood for fantastic stereo records, you know, not some mono thing that was on a video. And it got panned because of it. And I even put my own review up on Amazon, and you know, just as a way of explanation by saying, well, we tried to stop this from coming out, and we had to threaten them with an injunction to stop another the Liverpool Deluxe coming out, because they put a load of rubbish on there to try and sell it as this is 5 previously unaired tracks, and it was one of them was about 11 minutes of Pez just messing about on a drum kit, triggering samples. Not even a song, and you know, it's on there as drum loop. I said, we're not having that, you know, you can't. And it's about fleecing the fans, you know, thinking that they're getting something that they've this previously unreleased. Great, if there is something that's of a standard that the fans would want, I've got no axe with that, but like not anyhow rubbish. And we've never been consulted on any of it, you know, no one's ever said to us, what do you think should be on there? You know, it's all done. I mean, and you know, speaking to other musicians, it's not unusual. The musicians don't get consulted on any of this stuff anymore. It's just trot it out, get a few pennies in, cheap as possible. Yeah,
I can see there being quite a few probably albums with The Power of Love on again this Christmas.
Well, I mean, the Power of Love, yeah, it turns up on these compilations, but. You know, a lot of these compilations, they never recoup, you know, so it's not like you'll ever see any money for it. The label will get paid in advance to have it, you know, if someone in Colombia wants to stick out an album with The Power of Love on it, the label will get an advance, and because that's an advance, it's not a royalty, so we don't get paid. So this is why we're not happy with them, and this is why we don't like them. They don't play fair, I don't think.
No.
Six Towns Radio.
Yes, Six Towns Radio. It's been a bit of a special today because we've had the pleasure of having Brian Nasher Nash in the studio this afternoon, and it'd be a crime if we had you in and we didn't get you to play a Frankie song.
Well, it's the only. It's a good job there is one that I can play. Like, you wouldn't want to hear me trying to play. Doesn't work. Doesn't relax. All Two Tribes. But since it's nearly Christmas, I guess we should play this then. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is for Jules, who's in the shop next door trying to sell wedding dresses, so go and buy a wedding dress off Jules. I've already made her day. Well, I'm about to now. So this is for you, Jules.
Feels like fire. I'm so in love with you. Dreams are like angels, they keep at bay. Love is the light, scaring darkness away. I'm so in love with you, purge the soul. Make love your goal. The power of love, a force from above, cleaning my soul. Flame on burn desire, love with tongues of fire, purge the soul, make go. I'll protect you from the hooded claw, keep the vampires from your door. When the chips are down, I'll be around with my undying, death-defying love for you. Envy will hurt itself. Let yourself be beautiful, sparkling love flowers and pearls. Pretty girls, love is like an energy rushing inside of me. Yeah, the power of love, a force from above, cleaning my soul. Flame on burn desire, love with tongues of fire. Purge the soul, make love your goal. This time we go sublime. Love is entwined, divine, divine. Love is danger, love is pleasure. Love is pure, the only treasure. I'm so in love with you, purge the soul. Make love your goal. The power of love, a force from above, cleaning my soul. The power of love, a force from above, a skyscraping door. Flame on burn desire, love with tongues of fire. Purge the soul, make love your goal. Make love your goal.
Thank you, Brian. A great Christmas present for all the listeners, and Jules as well.
Yeah, happy Christmas, and happy Christmas to Jules.
Thing is, I think Jules, what she'll do, she'll take the recording of that and probably use it as an advert for the shop.
Yeah, as long as she doesn't want me to model any wedding dresses. Especially with my moobs, mate.
You're not up for that. Well, before you go, I just want to ask you one more question. It was about the VH1 thing a few years ago. It was about 10 years ago. They did a thing where they got bands back together.
Yeah.
Who'd split up for whatever reason. They got them talking about, being in the band, and then they got them to make one performance. And you were asked to do it, weren't you?
Yeah. The whole experience was a bit rubbish, to be honest. I was in my studio one day, and the phone goes, and someone said, oh yeah, I've got a number from a friend, and I want to come and check out your studio with a view to putting a band in there. I went, yeah, okay, cool. So I'm behind the rack in all my weaving gear, rotten. And the buzzer goes, and 15 people walk up the alley to my studio with a camera crew. when you're confronted with a situation like that, you kind of have to play ball. You can't, you know, you don't know what it's about. And to be honest, you know, I thought my initial reaction is one of the bands died. That's the first thing I thought. So, well, why are these people walking up the alley with all this camera crew? But no, I had no objection to them to meeting up with the guys. We've got no axe to grind with any of them. Even now, you know, we've had our disagreements, but I think if with all of us put in the same room together, we'd all get on with each other. You know, there hasn't been anything that's been that personal or that hurtful that's been said between the members that can't be repaired by having to front it up face to face. But for me, you know, I've never been a breadhead about music ever in my life. I do it because I do it. And with regards to Frankie, our only currency as a band in the future is playing live, and I wasn't going to play live for these bunch of jokers who turn up uninvited. And at the end, I didn't, to be honest, I made myself scarce. I made excuses and I just didn't want to be anywhere near it. It was great hanging out with the guys and seeing them, and you know, maybe a few bad feelings were put to rest. And you know, there's been bad feelings since then, and the same thing could happen. We could all be in a room together, and those same newer bad feelings could be put to rest. But I just didn't want anything to do with it. I was as reluctant as Holly. But when the guys were interviewed at the end, they said that I was up for doing it, and I think they didn't want me to be painted as the bad guy. And when the programme went out, they really edited to make it look like Holly was the bad guy. But you know, that's the thing, if things like this happen, that's the power of the edit. You have no say over it, no control over it. And the irony of that whole experience was 2 months later I get sent a framed photograph of all 5 of us together, and it was a nice group shot, and there was 2 other pictures at the bottom which like you wouldn't have even hung in your toilet. They were like they're just rubbish, and a t-shirt, and I've gone, oh well, that's nice, yeah, that's going in the loft. And then two or 3 days later, I got a bill from Customs and Excise for the 17.5 quid for this picture, because it had come from a business address. I'm not paying that. I didn't even want it. So then, within 2 weeks, that's being handed to a debt collection agency, and now it's 40 quid. And if you don't pay it in the next 3 days, it's going to be 80 quid. So I wrote the whole sorry story in a red pen on the back of the picture and auctioned it on eBay and paid the 80 quid. Come out of it 30 quid on top. So not all bad.
Yeah, it's called Bands Reunited.
Bands Reunited, yeah. You can see it all on YouTube. It'd be, if any Frankie fans who want to go back and revisit it now, especially in light of, say, how they made it look when Holly turned up, they put like 10-second edits of all of us just standing around, hanging about, making it look like he was being the big diva, turning up last. And it wasn't like that at all. And they painted him out to be the villain of the piece when, you know, he summed it up perfectly. He said, what, you want me to sing one? Friday? I'm not a wedding singer. And he's absolutely right. If we were going to do it, we'd do it the way we did it back in the past. You know, we'd do it properly. 800 lights and a load of fireworks, or I'm not even bothering.
Yeah. You can say, never say never.
No, I'd never say never. I think, you know, I did an interview recently with Tony Hadley. I was Tony Hadley's mystery guest, and he asked me the same thing. And I said, well, Tony, you know, you had 19 days in High Court with your bandmates, and you still went out and did it. And if you know, they were coming back from a much, you know, more aggrieved situation than we ever would be. So I'd never say never. It's not something I wake up every morning thinking, wow, I wonder if today is going to be the day we're all going to get back together.
I want to thank you for being a fantastic guest today.
Cheers.
I've enjoyed today. I'm sorry that I had a lot of sleep. I had to come meet you like after 4 hours sleep.
No, it's all right, mate.
But it was well worth it.
It's been an absolute pleasure. It's been great. You know, it's always good to talk about the past, the middle, the future, and, you know, yeah, anytime.
Well, keep in touch, and we'll have to get you to record a show for us. That'd be quite nice. Play some of your favourite music.
Yeah.
That would be good.
The stuff that my missus says is miserable, depressing, and I can't say the last word.
Yes.
Yeah.
I look forward to it.
When I recorded my last album, that's what my missus said to me. She said, do you know what? I don't like it. I said, well, why don't you like it? She said, because Anybody listening to it would think you've got a really miserable life and you're really sad, when really you have the life for Jack, the lad, or the life for Riley.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is, it's false advertising.
Very supportive.
Yeah. Well, she's been with me 25 years. She's got a right to say what she likes. She put up with me for that long.
Yeah. She's stayed as part of your band.
Yeah. She's a cracker. She's a cracker.
Well, thank you very much again, Brian.
Six Towns Radio.